Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing the 4K Criterion Collection release of Yojimbo and Sanjuro here with this wonderful cover art. And I believe that every fan of Japanese cinema, Kurosawa, Westerns, all of this, you really have to see at least Yojimbo, if not both of these films. And if you're unaware and are a Western fan and didn't know this, A Fistful of Dollars, which was the first movie in that Man with No Name trilogy that ended in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, this movie was basically airlifted, if not copied and paste of Yojimbo, okay? A lot of the ideas are just exactly the same, but the plot is that a wandering samurai tosses a stick up into the air, played brilliantly by Toshiro Mifune, a great performance, and that stick lands, and that's the way he goes. And when he gets to town, he realizes he's in the middle of a rival gang situation, just like in A Fistful of Dollars, if you've seen that. And he decides to try to play both sides using his reputation that he very quickly cements with a really cool fight scene. And those lonely, dusty, windy streets are going to really appeal to you if you're a Western fan. I mean, it's just brilliant stuff. It doesn't matter that it's not like Monument Valley or whatever. It's still entertaining enough in its own right. And a lot of the film in Yojimbo is a lot of this like back and forth backstabbing and planning and scheming and plotting. You do need to be aware of that. There's a lot of talking in Yojimbo. It's not a whole lot of actual fighting. There's probably overall a little bit more violence in the No Name trilogy, but I still really like Yojimbo, despite the fact that it actually isn't that action-oriented. The action, in fact, if you read the supplements, like it's very quick. It's lightning fast. This has more to do with us falling in love or not falling in love with Toshiro Mifune's main character, and as charismatic of an actor as he is, and as much fun as he has in the role, it's hard not to. I mean, he's at one point, he's like on the top of this tower looking down at the chaos he's created and kind of laughing like he's the god of the town. When he is in trouble in the film, and he does get to pull that dramatic acting out, boy, he's good at it. And there is some terrific blood makeup in here for black and white. It almost, I'm thinking of something like what Scorsese did in Raging Bull with Robert De Niro, as a boxer with all the blood. It's a great looking picture in 4K. The artwork, the clothing. There's one shot at night where someone's walking down the street and just the glowing light of the windows. I mean, this is a fantastic looking film. And if you like the anti-hero who comes into town and has to live in moral gray area and make decisions about how much he wants to invest himself in a community, you are going to like this picture. It is iconic, and I would say this, even if you didn't buy this set and you're a fan of Westerns, you have to see Yojimbo. It's mandatory because it's too foundational to the Western genre not to see it. Now, the other film that is a lot different, it's lighter, okay? Sanjuro, the sequel, is a little bit lighter because Yojimbo has all this intense music built up with drums and sticks and stuff and these epic fights and showdowns in town. Sanjuro is more of just a consistent action movie. And in this one are effectively Man with No Name because he improvises his name in both films. He stumbles onto a situation where someone is being framed for corruption and he has to help this group of misfits stop that framing from happening and get somebody back and go on a rescue mission. All right, that's what this one does. And of all the movies, gosh, I didn't expect this, but for people that are used to a little bit more mainstream films, you might be reminded of Terminator 2 for a number of reasons, because Mifune basically is a Terminator in these films, especially in the second one. He literally walks in front of a group of infinite bad guys and just pushes some of them down, and he's just so OP in this thing, okay? It's supposed to be like that, and there's this sense that we get from the film, both in directly stated and in its visual style, that violence has to take a pause. Too much violence is bad, that kind of thing, which does come up in Terminator 2, right? When the little kid insists that Terminator doesn't shoot everybody. So you might find some similarities there in that kind of character, And if you did enjoy Terminator 2, you actually might kind of make that connection. I'd be curious in the comments if anyone else has ever thought that besides me, but that's just where my mind went. Sanjuro is a roundly entertaining film. Like I said, it's a little bit more consistently entertaining, but the ups and downs of Yojimbo, like the high points of Yojimbo, I think, are like true Kurosawa greatness. But I do think Yojimbo has some lulls in the action that can be a little bit, I don't want to call it boring, but less engaging. Whereas Sanjuro is like just kind of consistent throughout. And it has an awesome, oh my goodness. There's a blood splatter in Sanjuro when he's in a fight that just like totally surprised me, okay? That could have been in like an Arrow Films release horror movie. It's real good whenever you get to see that. But the heart of gold of this character in both films, his acting, his charisma, you got to see him. So who should buy this? Okay. If you're like me and you collect a lot of Criterion releases, but not all of them, like for me, I want to have the big Kurosawas, obviously I'm going to buy it. I don't think it's as good as something like Rashomon, Seven Samurai, Dreams, Kagemusha, those films. But it's maybe just under that, and they're still really good movies. You're not going to see the like thematic depth in this that you might in those films. In fact, one of the essays in here practically says that. So be aware of that. They're a little bit more for entertainment, but again, they're like very foundational films. And I'm glad I have this set. I'm going to tell you the actual 4K, like I said, in Yojimbo really impressed me. In Sanjuro, I didn't notice it as much, but that's my overall impression of the films. I do enjoy them quite a bit, and like I said, if you're already collecting a lot of the Japanese cinema out there, this is a must-have. Like, right, like this is Harakiri is one of my favorites. I just, provided this as an example. Okay, I don't think that either of these is as good as Harakiri, but I collect these kind of films. Throne of Blood up there, Throne of Blood. I'm such a Macbeth fan that I really love that film. So for me, as someone who collects those, this was something I really wanted. I'm glad I have it. I have high and low. I have a number of Kurosawa films in my collection. So that's just my take. If you did enjoy this video and you found it at all helpful, if you want to click the like button, that will help grow the channel. I do try to grab Criterions occasionally as they're new releases and review them and tell you my thoughts. So that will help grow that process. And if you want to leave a comment with your own thoughts and consider subscribing, that would also be great. Until next time, we will see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.